So let me ask you a question. If you're a fan of the New York Giants, the Dallas Cowboys, or you're just a fanatic of the National Football League, does it get better than the opening matchup on opening day tomorrow? At 4:25 Eastern Time, the kickoff is scheduled from AT&T Stadium, a.k.a. the house that Jerry built in Dallas, Texas. The hometown Cowboys taking on their NFC East rival, a long time at that, in the New York Football Giants. I'm Matt Levine, welcoming you to my YouTube station. Please go ahead and subscribe. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you a preview, some predictions, and a pick with my final score between those Cowboys and Giants. I'm all fired up for this season opener. First off, these two, they've played each other a ton of times, 114 times dating back to the first meeting in 1960. That was one of two times that these two played tie against each other. A draw, 31-31. The Cowboys lead the all-time series with 66 wins. They've won 4 straight, including their last matchup. Cowboys 2-step to victory on December 30th of 18, 38-35. The most lopsided game in favor of the Cowboys back in 1966 when gasoline, my friends, was only 32 cents a gallon. Cowboys smoked the Giants 52-7. As for the weather tomorrow, well, if you've ever been to Texas in the summer, one word describes it: hot. And that's what you'll get at kickoff. 98 degrees, clear, sunny Texas skies. The line in favor of the Cowboys, coming off that 10-6 mark, an NFC championship. Last year, they won a wild card playoff game against the Seahawks, would lose the next week in the divisional round against the NFC champion, Los Angeles Rams. They're a 7.5-point favorite against the Giants, who go 5 up and 11 down last year. A disastrous one for Big Blue. The over and under is 44.5. Let's give you some predictions. I'll start by talking about the respective offensive lines. Dallas has a pretty good one at that, but they've got a question mark with Zach Martin. Perhaps the best lineman in football. They're all pro, right guard. He's battling a bulging disc injury. I've had that years ago. Knock on my glass desk, I never do again. I know he's a Dallas Cowboy. I hate the Cowboys, but I never root for an injury, Dallas Cowboy or not. And I feel for him because that is one painful injury for a mere mortal, let alone a high-caliber football player like him who has to do some battle on the grid as a Warrior tomorrow. So that's a question mark. It's going to linger with that Dallas line. As for the Giants, they're rebuilt and refortified again. I know last year they rebuilt with some bust free agents, guys like Eric Flowers, a bust draft pick, but they're ancient history, that line of last year. At least on the right side and at center. A guy who won the job last year, John Jalapio at center, got injured right as the season was going to begin, missed the whole 18 campaign, wins the job this year. He's a good center. Flies under the radar, expecting big things. Now, anchoring that right side, you get Kevin Zeitler. He comes over from the Cleveland Browns for Olivier Vernon. KZ, an all-pro caliber right guard. Also at right tackle, another guy is all-pro caliber and has had a long, sustained, successful career in the NFL with a couple teams, including the Minnesota Vikings. He's been battling illness and injury this week, but he got the all clear and good to go from the Giants, and that is Mike Remmers. So number 10, the quarterback on the Giants. Yes, Eli Manning. I know he has a short leash. Daniel Jones, great preseason, we all know. He's active as number 2 tomorrow. But guess what? Eli's got a real line for the first time in a long time. You couple that in with the likes of Saquon Barkley, should be a big factor now with that line. Just think how good Saquon was last year in a rookie record-breaking season with a crappy line. So I like the line matchup tomorrow with the Giants against the Cowboys. I know the Cowboys defense is a very good one. They've got a guy over there named DeMarcus Lawrence who has beat the crap out of the Giants the last couple of years. He's had 25 sacks over the last 2 seasons, and he pretty much has been an ultimate Giant killer. And he likes talking a lot of smack against that Giants quarterback, Eli Manning, doesn't he? But I think tomorrow, DeMarcus, you're going to run into a bit of a buzzsaw with the Giants line. It ain't the same old one that he's used to. As far as the health on the Dallas defense, it's iffy. Only 3 healthy safeties, including starter Jeff Heath. Only 5 healthy linebackers, including another Giants killer, Sean Lee. Dallas has their nucleus back with Zeke Elliott signing the big-time contract extension. I'm sure he's going to need Martin's protection tomorrow. But they've got Zeke, Dak, Cooper. And how about Jason Witten coming out of retirement? Jason Witten, just a steady Eddie, the definition of a great professional football player and tight end. So he should be able to help out tomorrow a great deal and throughout the season for the Cowboys. As for the Giants, their defense is going to be very interesting tomorrow. A bunch of newbies for Big Blue. They drafted 3 players in the first round. Talked about Daniel Jones. Also drafted their own Lawrence and Dexter Lawrence, a defensive lineman. DeAndre Baker. Giants traded up to get him, to add him to his defensive secondary. Also got Julian Love from Notre Dame, another integral part of that secondary. And Ballantyne, a player who came over to the Giants as their 6th-round pick, Corey Ballantyne from Washburn. He should fare into the mix nicely as well. And you throw in a Ryan Connolly, the 5th-round pick out of Wisconsin. He's going to be active tomorrow too. So as many as 5 rookies should play an integral mix into the Giants defense tomorrow, which features some solid vets like Janoris Jenkins and Alec Ogletree. I think tomorrow it's going to take a little time, the Giants defense, to warm up, but I think they've got themselves a pretty good defensive unit. It's going to be an interesting game tomorrow. I think it's going to be close. I think the Giants are going to be a lot more competitive this season than people are expected, and they've earned themselves a big question mark into this season. I think Dallas should have a great year if they can stay healthy. It's a very talented Dallas Cowboy team. So going into tomorrow, one thing is left to do, and that's give you my final score, which I will do right now. And then I'll talk about why I made this prediction. So here you have it, my friends, in week 1. How about that? The Giants scoring the upset. Now, I don't think it's going to be a miracle, a nice proportions of an upset, but I think you could call me crazy. Been called worse. I'm a bit of a homer. Not a bit, a lot of a homer. I understand that, but I don't think I'd be surprised if the Giants pulled off a win tomorrow. I think they can do enough ground control with Saquon. He's going to run all over Dallas. I think Eli could start becoming that game manager of a quarterback. Get enough protection to make some big plays here and there. If Eli's not on his backside, he can still win some football games. And I think, like I said earlier, it's going to take a little time for that Giants defense to get going tomorrow. Zeke will definitely play and play well tomorrow. He could take a little while to get going himself. I still think he turns in a great performance, but I think the Giants battle. Call it wishful thinking. Call it what you want. But at the end of the day, I think Big Blue again escapes with a 1-point win. 21-20 in Dallas over the Cowboys. Enjoy the football this weekend. And, of course, that matchup tomorrow at the house that Jerry built.